Brescia, a city in northern Italy that is full of wonder and history. In this video I'm going to show you the 10 best bits and hopefully convince you why you should visit this amazing place. Situated near Lake Garda and near the Italian Alps, the city has a population of over 200,000 people, and it is the administrative capital of the region of Brescia. The history of the city stretches back to ancient times. It was an important regional city even before the Roman Empire. However, it was as a Roman city that Brescia acquired many of its most important historical sites, giving the city some of the best preserved Roman buildings in northern Italy, which now form part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site, along with some other notable buildings. The city also flourished in later times, leaving it with many splendid buildings including 2 cathedrals, an epic castle and a Renaissance town hall, all of which can be found in the wonderful Old Town. Brescia can be easily reached by train from Milan, Bergamo or Verona as a day trip, but there is enough to see here to make it worth spending a little more time. The city is much less overcrowded with tourists compared to some of the other more well-known cities in Italy, so it makes for a really great experience. Well, that's enough of an intro. Let's take a look at the top 10 main attractions. Brescia has not 1 but 2 cathedrals. Luckily, they are right next door to each other and both are free to enter. Let's start with the older one, which is the smaller, plainer, round building. The old cathedral is officially known as the Winter Cathedral of Santa Maria Assunta, while the adjacent main new cathedral is known as the Summer Cathedral. The old cathedral is constructed in the Romanesque style. Building started in about 1100. Its circular shape is quite unusual, making it one of the most prominent Romanesque circular churches still in existence anywhere in the world. There are many treasures inside, including glass floor panels showing fragments of even older buildings beneath, such as these fragments from a Roman spa. To the sides of the main altar, you will find steps leading down into the even older crypt of San Filastrio, which was part of the prior 8th century church. Towering above the old cathedral is the grander and more ornate new cathedral. Construction started in 1604, but with work interrupted by the plague, it was not properly finished until 1825. It was originally designed by architect Giovan Battista Latana. Key features include the monumental marble Baroque facade and the massive dome, which is the 3rd highest in Italy, although it had to be rebuilt after severe damage in World War II. The monumental interior will make your neck hurt as you constantly look up to see the magnificent dome and all of the amazing details. Brescia contains the largest Roman archaeological area in northern Italy. The most prominent part is the Capitolium of Brescia, which was the main temple in the ancient Roman city. Built in about AD 73, it was at some point buried in a landslide and not rediscovered until 1823, whereby it was partially reconstructed with the original fragments clearly visible amongst the newer brick parts. Adjacent to the temple is a huge Roman theatre which would have originally had a capacity of about 15,000 spectators, so that's pretty big. Little remains today, but there is enough to give a good impression of its huge scale. To the south of the site is another small fragment of ancient Roman ruins. The site also contains a museum, which also gives entry to some of the reconstructed interiors. The entire site forms part of Brescia's UNESCO World Heritage Site, which is combined with the nearby monastic complex of San Salvatore, which can be visited as part of the Santa Giulia Museum. This huge museum is one of the highlights of the city, and there is enough to see here to last an entire day. The museum is very, very big, containing over 11,000 artifacts. The sprawling site is built around the medieval monastery of San Salvatore. The original monastery was founded in 753 and later rebuilt in Romanesque style in the 12th century. Further restoration took place in the 15th century. The monastery was then suppressed in the 18th century and eventually fell into poor condition before being turned into a museum. The complex includes a large selection of artifacts from the Bronze Age and Roman times. One modern wing of the building contains the excavated remains of many Roman buildings, many of which still contain well-preserved mosaic floors. Also within the museum is the Oratory of Santa Maria in Solerio, which was built in the 12th century. This building contains many stunning frescoes and also houses the famous Cross of Desiderius, which is covered with hundreds of gemstones, including around 50 ancient gems. The main part of the museum complex is the Basilica of San Salvatore, dating from around the 9th century. It was built on top of an even older church, which was in turn built on top of ancient Roman buildings, so it's a whole lot of stuff all built on top of each other. The impressive Romanesque nave is still very well preserved. Just above and behind the nave is the nuns' choir, which contains many colourful frescoes and also has a window with a great view over the nave below. Just a short way from the museum is a small but amazing church of the Most Holy Blood of Christ, sometimes called the Church of San Cristo. This small church is sometimes referred to as the Sistine Chapel of Brescia, as the interior is covered in some fantastic frescoes. The main part of the church was painted in the second half of the 16th century by Fra Benedetto di Moroni, whereas the lateral chapels were the creation of architect and painter Pietro Maria Bagnadori. The site also had a pleasant cloister to walk around. And I apologise if I horrifically pronounced the names of those Italian people. Feel free to correct me in the comments below. The castle of Brescia, known as the Falcon of Italy, is situated on Sydney Hill to the north of the Old Town. Entry to the grounds of the castle is free, where you can walk along the walls and explore the grounds. It has amazing views over the city and towards the Alps, assuming you are lucky enough to visit during good weather, unlike when I visited. The castle was built between the 13th and 15th centuries and is one of the largest in Italy. As well as the impressive grounds, it also contains a tower and 2 museums which can be visited for a small fee. There is also a monument to trains located within the walls, which seems a really odd place to put a train, but it's still cool to see. The old locomotive was originally used on the Brescia Idolo line. Heading back down from the castle, there's still lots to do in the Old Town. Make sure to spend some time wandering through the quaint old streets. Here are some highlights. The Piazza della Loggia is an amazing Renaissance town square and is surrounded by superb buildings, including on one side the clock tower, which was constructed between 1540 and 1550, and it houses a complicated, complex astronomical clock installed by Paolo Gennari between 1544 and 1546. The Palazzo della Loggia is a stunning Renaissance building that houses the town council. Construction was started in 1492 but was not completed until 1574, with contributions from some of the most famous architects of the Renaissance, including Jacopo Sansovino and Andrea Palladio. The building can be visited for free when not hosting any events, but you will be required to leave ID at the front desk, such as your passport. The interior has a monumental staircase and interesting council chambers to explore. A somewhat unusual sight in the Old Town is our final location, the sculpture of a rhino suspended by wires and created by Stefano Bombardier. It's quite a strange thing just to see hanging around in a city centre, but it's really fun. So that is the best bits of the wonderful city of Brescia. There is a lot more to discover in the city and I really highly recommend visiting. Thank you very much for watching and listening to me rambling on, and I hope you have a great day. See you in the next one, and cheerio!